Hey everyone, JhN here, and in this video series, I'm just sharing a bit about myself. I teach a lot of different people speaking and on YouTube videos and in person over the phone about mindfulness, manifestation, and meditation. But I had to come and learn about all this stuff. So this journey that I'm expressing and sharing with you guys is about how I came to learn all that stuff, and I think it's humbly so. I believe it's a really epic journey, and I'm being absolutely 100% transparent with everything that happened. And it did start about in 2012 with my wife getting sick at the time. So we're kind of in the midst of that entire story right here. So this is episode 3 on that. So thank you, one, for tuning in to learn about me, to help me grow, and to give me the opportunity to kind of use this space to continue to heal and to grow and to help other people who may be navigating through a similar challenge. So if you have not already, I'm asking you to please subscribe. I'm sharing one of these videos every week or so, and then another video that is related to learning about and improving your ability to have a nice, purposeful, peaceful, joyous life through manifestation, meditation, or mindfulness. So please subscribe and hit that notifications button so you're on the up and up when I release new videos. And of course, ask me questions in the comment section if you have anything about this, this video in particular. I'd like to hear it. I want to know what you're thinking, and also if you are suffering in some similar capacity, please share that so we can discuss that, and hopefully just that'll help you in some small way. So let's get down to where we left off, and that was with Jessica being rushed to this hospital, University of Chicago, for this life-saving brain surgery. So that episode was probably the most stressful, anxiety-ridden experience of my life up until that point, because her brain was swelling and they had to alleviate that swelling. So they didn't have to go in there and do anything involved, but it still involved being brain surgery, and she was at a very critical point in her life, in her mortality, if she was going to survive or not. And I remember meeting with the doctor and just pacing around like a tiger in a zoo in the waiting area there, and just riddled with anxiety and fear and everything, learning just hours ago that her brain was hosting a legion of tumors. So it was just really an insane, terrifying moment. I remember this, wanting to speak to the doctor to get some information, him coming out, and he was like annoyed with me, like just super short, annoyed, very, let's say, confident older gentleman. And, that was even, made things even more difficult. But all in all, throughout the hours, the brain surgery and the recovery, she came out alive, and we were just so thrilled. But I remember being in the waiting room and my adoring family there with me, because this was a very critical situation, and being surrounded by my mom and my father, and my parents are sitting next to me, and I just look at them and I just go, we're gonna have to move in with you. And they just they didn't hesitate. It was just like, of course we know, like I didn't have to have that conversation. And Jess and I were living in an apartment with 2 little pups in Chicago in the Lakeview neighborhood. And here I am saying, basically telling my parents I have to move in with them. Not even like asking, hey guys, can we completely uproot your household and move in and help me take care of my beautiful wife and your daughter, and where you have to bring the dogs and some of our belongings. To them, it was just like, just a no-brainer. And it just felt so phenomenal to have like that kind of support, that instantaneous, just not even a question of it, support. And for me to even present the request in that fashion, and them just being like, of course, we planned on it, we figured it, we're already, mentally planning for you guys to move in. So it was just like, such a relief, because to imagine having to move back into Chicago and do that was just insanity. It was just not even an option. So I will continue to do this until my dying breath, but praising my folks for being so understanding and so supportive and loving and just extremely affectionate to myself and Jess and to our struggle. So a little shout out to them. Love you guys so much for everything. Thank you so much. But so she basically, was in her time recovering, and we had to change our entire life. Basically, I asked friends to come help me move our entire place into boxes, and I was not fragile about stuff, and I was very quick. And we put that stuff into a storage bin and brought clothing and everything. And I moved us basically into our folks' house. And Jessica left the hospital and went straight to my parents' house. She had to have radiation done to continue to decrease the swelling of the tumors. She had like a spout, her skull was leaking and stuff. It was mentally an insane shift emotionally for her, because she was going from this, like, a week ago, like, yeah, I feel a little tired and stuff, I'm not quite myself, but we like hosted a party, our crab and champagne party that we have on an annual basis, and we had a great festive time and celebrating with, a couple dozen friends and family members. And then a week later, she just had brain surgery, life-saving brain surgery. So it was a really huge shift. And to learn that her brain was riddled with tumors after she thought she was in recession. I mean, I just try to take time to even think about that, from going from one extreme to the other. So that's why I continue to say she was just an absolute warrior. And we had to start different treatments right away, the radiation, but Jess and I were pursuing a lot of holistic stuff. So we actually started her on marijuana oil. We got from a buddy in Michigan, this kind man, and he was helping us out, and he had helped heal a lot of different people. So that was one of the treatments she was on. And so she was pretty much high as balls all the time, and we had to navigate that. So, I mean, I don't know if you've ever been high on marijuana. Most people have, and they've experienced some paranoia. Could you imagine that, with the dosage being 10 times what you would normally want in like a nice, festive, relaxed environment? And she was taking a gram of oil a day, ingesting it like through her mouth on crackers, and then eventually we're making pills. But basically, moving in, she lost a tremendous amount of weight. She looked so frail and thin, and her hair was thinning. We had to cut off a bunch of it. She had this, Jess, I'll probably show you a picture, long locks, beautiful, lush, full, dark black hair, and it thinned, and we had to cut it, and then we ended up shaving her head. And for anyone who's been through that situation, it's very hard to express the storm of emotions that goes through with that, especially just when considering the circumstance in its own right of battling that cancer and then having to shave your own head and do that, and you're just crying, and it's such a part of her identity, and as a female, kind of having to let that go and continue to try to find ways to feel beautiful in that feminine way, that intimate, personal way that made Jessica feel good. It's different for everyone, but she had to battle that and that struggle, and me to know that I had to uplift that if I told her she was pretty and beautiful 3 times a week, now I'm telling her 10 times a day, and just trying to constantly lift her spirits up to let her know how absolutely exquisite she was and continues to be and is here and now. And I remember when she first cut her hair, and I was like, baby, it's gorgeous, you look so cute, I can't believe you cut it, I can't, your face is so beautiful. And she was stoned, but she was just such a giggly little girl and felt so pretty, in the midst of this crazy storm that we're having to navigate through. So little things, but that's right off the bat coming from this brain surgery here. And there was a lot of other problems because the cancer was very, very aggressive at this point and infiltrating all different kinds of systems and things that are functions in her body. So we had our work up planned ahead again. So we had our hands full with so much stuff that we had to do. And we received a great amount of support with friends and family, but she actually got better pretty quick within the next couple months. The first few weeks were insane and very challenging. She had a urinary tract infection, wasn't sleeping right, trying to manage the dosage of the marijuana, getting, the radiation. She was on these other holistic measures because I was constantly researching new stuff. We're doing Budwig Select. I got this this wave emitter machine to help try to break down the tumors. She was on this the Gerson therapy, trying to do juices, and so we had like a combination of like 12 different things and supplements and everything, in addition to the radiation that she had to get. So it was pretty much just utter insanity. We had to navigate all that in her care and making sure that she is eating and getting rest and properly like cared for, because we had steps in the house and you had to get down to the kitchen and go to the bathroom, and her functions weren't there. I mean, she was this vibrant, young, capable woman who was boxing and running and biking and working out and so active and so fit, to, you know, having a hard time standing up out of a chair. It was like an extreme shift of being a, you know, a 30-year-old, young 30-year-old, to this 85-year-old woman who was just riddled with arthritis and aches and pains. So it was a tremendous shift for her. And again, she was this constant warrior, but she had her time. She had her pockets of suffering, of course, and we had to kind of help her battle severe panic attacks and times that she would just succumbed to the misery and the anguish of her situation. So it was extremely, extremely difficult. But my support system was phenomenal, and her family was there. My family, you know, she was living with my family because her family was from Michigan. So we're all there and all the troops are in, but it was just really a nightmare in the beginning and very, very challenging. But things finally, after a few weeks, began to simmer down and settle. And she actually made great progress. The tumors were shrinking. She was getting her facilities back to her, you know, doing speech therapy, occupational therapy stuff, and helping. She started journaling, and the weeks went by, and we're approaching Christmas time. We even went to a New Year's party and found her a beautiful wig so she could dress up and go to that. And we're trying to incorporate some fun stuff. We went out for her birthday, her and I did, and that's a whole nother hilarious story I'll share one day. I tried a little bit of the weed, the gel, and we went out, and it really just pretty much knocked me out of my ass. And we had to stay in the car on her birthday, and we had this insanely beautiful bonding moment for a couple hours. So very, very just immense experience. I just kind of had the most empathy I ever had for her, of having to struggle and being so crazy stoned because we were taking the weed to help her battle the cancer, not just for her appetite or anything. And she had to kind of like navigate mortality and the fear of death and everything while being under that influence. Extremely challenging mental mindset to kind of have and to navigate and explore with, while coupling your faith and your loved ones and possible loss and just being very present. So she was just this ultimate warrior. And so we were progressing, and we're trying to, you know, balance some social functions, going outside, trying to get some fresh air, going for walks here and there, doing some exercises at the house. But I was still managing. I became director of a corporate entity downtown. So I had a really great team and a really great management system who helped me and supported me and knew everything. I was very transparent about just being my priority, but it sucked ass having to drive to downtown Chicago every day, and, you know, back and forth through commuting an hour and a half sometimes. So it was very challenging. Mentally, though, it was good for me because I needed this break, and I would listen to Joel Osteen of all people, because, you know, I'm still going to our non-denominational church in Chicago, and so I'm listening to Joel Osteen because I just needed absolute unfiltered positivity pouring into my life. And so I got a little of that through Jessica. She would give me certain scriptures and share emails and discuss some stuff. And so I would listen to that, because when I was on my own, I'm riddled with anxiety, and your mind just starts tormenting you and torturing you along some traffic jam commute in the middle of a Chicago winter. It's a nightmare. It's a really challenging place to be. And all I wanted to be was with Jess next to her, caring for her. But I know I needed money and insurance and livelihood to, you know, provide for us and to navigate this. But again, I had a great support system with work. And so I would take that time to just process. to just boost my own well-being, my mental well-being. And I was like my own cheerleader and listening to Joel Osteen and other scripture. And I would talk myself into these like positive spaces, because the fear of losing her and everything, it would seep in here and there. And I had to like just sit there and like almost like banish it out. Like you're trying to squeeze the thoughts out of you. Like that energy is just overwhelming you, and you have to like try everything to push and press it out of yourself. So I would say stuff and think stuff, and at that time I didn't know what I was doing, but that was manifestation and mindfulness coupled together in a traffic jam meditation, if you will. And so I was doing stuff like that, and it was very powerful. And then coming home, and then when I was at home, I was the superhero. I remember walking into the room and I'd be like, "Hey baby, how are you?" And she just freaking light up like a beacon, you know, and her voice tone would go up, her face would blush over, her eyes would go wide, because we had that insanely strong connection. Because through all this, all of our little grievances, like the relationship, marriage, or spousal, or even boyfriend, girlfriend grievances of, Joe doesn't have very much patience, and he's quick to kind of, you know, get defensive, and Jess couldn't be criticized. All that stuff was incinerated with the absolute pressure of mortality. It's like, does that stuff even exist? Does it even matter in the grand scheme of things? Here we are fighting for her life. All that stuff was literally incinerated. So if you're looking at it like a layered lotus, we did so much therapy, in a sense, couples therapy, by having to face life and death. We went well beyond and saw that our love and our relationship and our adoration for one another didn't have to kind of just stay at the surface level, that we could dive deep below that and really empathize and sympathize and be of true compassion for one another. And it really did help our relationship just gain so much strength, so much depth. And it was such an insane blessing, because you're looking into the eyes of this person that you love and adore, and you're not seeing them for who you want them to be and all the little grievances and the things that they fall short on. You're just seeing them as this soul, this spirit that you love and appreciate, and you're connecting. And we were able to do that through this mortality, through this insanely challenging trial. And that was a blessing that I kind of took note of immediately, and I was so grateful for that, because you can't manifest that on your own. It's very, very challenging to have this awakening. A lot of people have a spiritual awakening, and it's after the loss of a spouse or a loved one or a child or a business, or their own loss of, in a sense, where they become very suicidal, or they're just down and out and they just want to give up. And so it comes with facing mortality, and we were gifted that and present enough to understand the depth and gravity of that gift, and to come to a place of appreciation and presence to exist within that. That was probably one of the biggest takeaways of like me never taking life for granted again, and trying to really avoid getting into conflict over surface issues, over surface BS, because it's just not worth my time. Life is so short. I learned that, and I'm not going to want to invest in that kind of stuff. And with her, it took us to this just absolute incredible magical place where we really got each other. And we had this one moment that I'll share. I remember coming home one day and we had this like really hideous brown chair. It was my parents' like old chair, but we brought it upstairs to the bedroom, and that was her little lazy boy chair. Like, she was either in the bed there, the queen bed we had there, the chair, or in another bed, because when you're laying down and resting all the time, you need multiple places to do that, to be comfortable. And so we try to give her as many spaces as we could for her to do that. So this chair was, you know, just all packed with pillows and everything, and I came home and she was getting sicker now. We were kind of beyond the time where things were really, really great. And we had gone through a ton of procedures already, dozens of nights in the ER, dozens of extra nights in the hospital for different reasons, and blood clots and her lung filling up with fluid. And we had to get a new procedure, just all this craziness. But I come home and it's just sunny, in this sunny, beautiful afternoon. The sun's like pouring through the windows. The windows are open. It's springtime. The birds are chirping. It's a really magical, profound experience. I come in, I'm dressed in my 3-piece suit or whatever it was. And again, she does that, "Hey, baby," welcoming that would just put me into a state of being melted butter. I just would puddle and then kind of move like a gelatinous mass towards her. And so I came down, I fell on my knees before. I'm like, "How was your day? Tell me about your day." Just talking like couples do, because even though she's staying home, she's still navigating so much. So I'd let her talk, and I'd support her and lift her up and try to do so much that I could to be that positive, strong knight, on the white horse and stuff. And she just opened up and she's like, I'm so scared. I really want to be a mom. And it broke my heart, because here we are navigating this circumstance and all this stress and anxiety, and that maternal longing and instinct for her was still very prevalent, and it's just such a beautiful thing. And it was very eye-opening to me of how tremendous of a force that is for women. And I do see that and understand that, and have a lot more of an understanding for that without being a woman, is that gravity for that pull of nature is a very, very strong force. And she started crying and opening up to me and just saying, I want to have children with you. And we had our frozen embryos stored away in Houston, and I, of course, did my best to lift her up and say, "Of course, we're gonna do that together. We just gotta get you healthy first so that you can take care of the kids, and I can go on trips with my friends and go fishing on the weekends. We gotta make sure you're strong and capable and able." And it was a really powerful, magic moment of me just sitting in her lap and her looking down, rubbing the back of my head, and I'm still wearing the suit and she's wearing, unicorn pajamas or something funny. And she got the shaved head, hair's growing back a little bit, and she's bigger now because of the steroids and all the surgeries and procedures. She's not even eating that much, and she's weak and tired and just so drained. And here she is considering that beauty of nature and the gift of life. And it really just broke my heart to see her having to kind of even think about that. But it also broke my heart in a good way to feel and to hear from her that's oh my gosh, she just wants to be a mother and to my children and have that family. Ultimately, she's just thinking about the small things in life, and that's, even though it's a tremendously large thing, it's just the little things in life, and that's where she came to. And so it was a really magical moment between us, and very, very, very profound. And I'm so grateful for it. And I'm so grateful for those experiences of being so grounded in what love really is once we get past all that surface crap. And it's changed my relationship with Susie, now my fiance, and how we come at things and we communicate, and we are just progressing through little surface things, and they're just obliterated. It takes a little bit of just time and patience, and it's just really tremendous, the impact that made on me. Those events and those experiences kind of coming in and investing those into who I am here and now, and teaching other people. I'm teaching many other couples this stuff too, and it's really, really profound. So I'll probably make a video on that pretty soon about communicating and really giving your partner that true affection of love and loyalty and compassion and empathy, and how to do that authentically. But we are pretty much done with episode 3. I think it's 3 now, yeah. So let me know if you have any questions and comments. I am skimming through stuff, but I'm just trying to share a little bit so you know who I am, and this kind of advice on the other videos, where that's coming from and where all that stuff kind of arose from. And this is the true beginning of my spiritual journey. This is the first chapter or 2, and it's a hell of a chapter. So thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in, and I look forward to next time. And again, please be sure to subscribe. It truly means the absolute world to me because of what I'm trying to do, is trying to help people find ways to navigate and evolve beyond their own suffering and finding peace and purpose and happiness. So thank you for subscribing. And again, if you have any questions, make sure to ask away in the comment section, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks so very much. Have a good one.